Sanbonani. Good morning, goeiemorgen, good evening, wherever you're catching us from. My name is Princess Lukele. I am an author of this book called Maneuvering Teenage Life, and excited yet for another week. We are reviewing my book, reviewing chapters, sharing ideas, learning together in doing this parenting thing better so that our teenagers can win and that we can also win as parents. So this book was written for parents, for teenagers, in fact for anyone that just really wants to learn, because even as an adult there's so much you can get out of the book. So today we're looking at a chapter called Get to Know the New You, right? Why are you getting to know the new you? Because the chapters prior to this are really about you changing as a teenager, are really about you changing as a parent, changing your parenting style, because sometimes we think we got this but we ain't got it. And then you start learning and developing new habits as to how you're treating your teenager, and as a teenager you're also learning better ways to do things, respecting your parents, respecting your time, putting boundaries, dumping some of the friends that shouldn't be in your life, right? So this chapter is all about how do you get to know the new you, right? After having worked through the previous chapters, there's so much change that's going to come. This is all the pages that you would have gone through before you get to this chapter. So there is a new you, and sometimes people could be can actually reject you and be like, oh, you've changed. Your friends can look at you differently, which is okay. It's okay that people look at you differently and not treat you the same, because you're no longer the same person. You are wiser, you are smarter. When you grow as a person, the people that should not be in your life would fall off, and you would know it because they would just disappear from your life, or they would start treating you differently, or they would just distance themselves from you because they say we are jailer or you know better. And that's okay, because the new you is coming out. It's like when a new season comes out and flowers bloom. That's exactly what this is about. All right, so get to know the new you is really a chapter about knowing where to draw boundaries so that you don't also fall back into the old you who was probably with all the bad habits or the things that we thought were cool and okay that we were doing prior to this, so that you can be consistent in the new you. So we talk about self-control, we talk about tolerance and understanding of others. How do you practice that? We talk about happiness, that you matter, you important. We talk about conflict, because sometimes you just have internal conflict. How do you deal with that? So that's what this chapter is about, getting to know the new you, right? Because at the beginning of the book, before you got it, you are someone else, and by the time you get halfway through the book, you realize that you're growing if you are using and following the instructions that are in the book and practicing the things that you've been given. Even if sometimes you can even read the book and not realize just how much it's changing you. So it just slowly gets into you, right? So it will be very nice as a parent to go through this, or you as a teenager to go through this chapter, so that you can know how to treat the new you, how to be kind to yourself, to see the new strengths that you have and to use them wisely. Not to, because sometimes when you gain knowledge and information, we can use it to the detriment of other people. We don't want that. We want you to empower people. We want you to share the knowledge with other people, so it speaks about all of that. And then of course in the end there's a declaration to say how are you going to keep to yourself, right? So it's very important that you go through this chapter. I think it's one of the most vital chapters in the book, and I quote Gretchen Rubin in the chapter. I think it's very relevant for it, where he says, my first commandment is to be Grecian, yet it's very hard to know myself. I get distracted by the way I wish I were, or the way I assume I am, that I lose sight of what's actually true. And that happens to the best of us, right? So and then you can there's a declaration, right, that you need to read and understand, and then you sign so that you can be true to the new you. All right, that is one of the chapters that I think would be very useful and beneficial. Yeah, happy reading, happy reading. If you haven't gotten yourself a copy, I'll put in a link below. This is the book called Maneuvering Teenage Life, written by myself, Princess Lokele, for your teenagers. Okay, cheers guys, bye.